All right, so welcome back to Wingspan, the European expansion bird powers. So, because we're going over all the bird powers. All right, so the only thing we have left are the when activated cards. And I say the only thing left when the majority of the cards are these cards anyways, which is normal. Okay, so let's get started. Let's not waste any time. So when activated, choose one other player. And then for each action cube on their wetlands, tuck one card from your hand behind this bird, then draw an equal number of bird cards. So obviously, if they have, like, for instance, you choose another player and the player has 3 action cubes in their draw bird cards wetlands location, then you'll be able to tuck one, or should I say, you'll be able to tuck 3 cards behind this bird and then draw an equal number of bird cards. So that's what that means. Pretty cool, but that's how that works. Okay. When activated, for this goal here, I'm not going to try pronouncing that first one, this goal here, draw 2 cards from the deck. Tuck one behind this bird and keep the other. So I like this ability a lot. It's really useful. You'll get to do this quite a bit because it's when activated, obviously. You'll draw 2 cards. You'll keep the one you like the most to add to your hand, and the other one is going to get tucked behind this bird for an extra point at the end of the game. That is awesome. I like that. So that's really cool. Okay. Then we have the common chaffinch. When activated, choose 1 to 5 birds in this habitat. Tuck 1 bird card from your hand behind each. So let's say you choose the wetlands habitat, for instance. Or actually, for this one, you'd have to choose 1 to 5 birds in this habitat. So if you placed this one in the forest, for instance, it would have to be the forest habitat. If you placed this bird in the Savannah habitat, it would have to be the Savannah habitat. But then you could choose a number. So like if you had 3 birds there and you wanted to tuck 3 birds, then you would just choose the 3 birds that you want to tuck 1 card from your hand behind each. Now doing this means you're not going to get any more bird cards. So you're just tucking birds and losing those cards. So you're going to have to get more bird cards, obviously, if you decide to do this ability. But it's still pretty cool, and you could do up to 5 if there was 5 birds in that particular habitat. That's pretty useful. That's pretty cool. You could do this a couple of times, a few times easily in the game, especially if you get it in the beginning of the game. That's a pretty awesome ability. So getting extra bird cards in this game is definitely going to be very, very useful for you. Let's move on. Alright, so this one is the exact same ability as the last one. Has the exact same one, so we won't go over it. Alright, this one is similar, but it's not the same one. So the mute swan here, choose 1 to 3 birds in your wetlands habitat, in your wetlands. You'll tuck 1 card from your hand behind each. If you tuck at least 1 card, you'll draw 1 card. So as long as you do it as long as you tuck at least 1 card from behind your hand, you'll still get to draw 1. But you could possibly do more than that if there were more birds in the habitat, and if you wanted to do more birds in that habitat. Okay, well this one is very similar as well. Choose 1 to 5 birds in your forest. Cache 1 seed from your supply on each. So this is similar, except instead of discarding cards, or should I say tucking cards, you're caching food from your personal supply onto each bird that you choose in your forest when you activate this ability. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so then here we have the northern gannet. This is the only bird within this video, in this pile, in fact, that has the fishing ability, the northern gannet. You'll roll all dice not in the bird feeder. If any are fish, you'll gain that many fish from the supply and cache them on this card. So that's pretty cool. I mean, if there's 3 dice that are not sitting in the bird feeder, re-roll them. If you can get a fish out of the deal, you'll get to cache a fish on the bird. If all 3 dice end up being fish, which the last couple of rolls and the last couple of videos I kept getting fish and rodents, you could get multiple fish, food, cast onto this card per activation. So that's pretty cool. And of course, you could get nothing at all, too. It just depends on the luck of the roll and how many dice you're rolling, obviously. So this one has the exact same ability almost, but we still go over because it is still slightly different. Roll all dice not in the bird feeder. If any are rodents, place 1 egg on this card. So that's how that one works. So if you get some rodents, you might get some eggs. But you can never do more than 2 eggs, because this one can only have 2 eggs. Okay, now we have a new concept. Another new concept to Wingspan. So this one is the common kingfisher, and it says, steal 1 fish from another player's supply and cash it on this bird. Then they gain 1 food dice from the bird feeder. Okay, so this could possibly, one thing I like about this expansion is it adds a lot of new interaction. But if Wingspan was going to have an attack card, this would be the closest thing you were going to get to an attack card, because you're stealing one of their foods, and if it has to be a fish with this bird, of course, but you're stealing one of their foods, and then even though they get to obviously get 1 food dice from the bird feeder, it may not be a fish. Maybe they were planning on using that fish to play a bird, and now you have stunted their strategy, and so now they're going to have to spend an extra turn getting that fish, maybe even more. And so this is definitely sort of like an attack, but at least they get an option of getting another bird food, obviously from the bird feeder. So it's not an extremely horrible attack card, but it still could be strategic to play, of course, especially if they're playing a lot of birds in the wetlands, and a lot of these birds in the wetlands require fish to play. So that's pretty useful. So this one has the exact same ability, except instead of fish, you're going to steal an invertebrate from another player's supply and cash it on this card. This one has the exact same ability, but instead, the little owl here, you're going to steal 1 rodent from another player's supply and cash it on this bird. This one has the exact same ability as the last one, but instead of rodent, you're going to steal 1 seed from another player's supply and cash it on this bird. This one has the exact same ability as the last one, except you're going to steal a food of your choice from another player's supply and add it to your own supply. So this one's even more strategic, because now you're not limited to what this bird can steal. This bird can steal any food from an opponent. So that is pretty useful. It's useful for you, maybe, only in strategic advantage of stunting their aviary a little bit. That's still pretty powerful. Okay, and that's it for those birds that have that stealing ability. So only about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only about 5 of the birds had that ability. So technically, there's only 5 attack cards in the whole game. The chances of somebody getting it is still slim to none. But if one player gets the steal ability, the chances of somebody else getting it, not so good, obviously. So here we have the Wilson's Storm Petrel. With this one, you're going to draw 1 card for each empty card slot in this row. At the end of your turn, you keep 1 card and discard the rest. So let's use this as an example. Let's say this is the only bird in this row. Okay, there's no other birds. So that obviously this is empty here. So that means there are 4 slots in this habitat here, in this row here, that are empty. That means you'll draw 4 cards. You'll look at them, but you're only going to keep 1. But then as more birds are added to the equation, you'll get to draw less cards and have less choices to choose from. So that can be good, that can be bad. I mean, you could get a lot of really good bird cards, and then you only get to choose 1 of the 4 really good bird cards. But then again, the same possibilities of you getting 3 very horrible bird cards and 1 really good one is still about the same. So that's a pretty interesting ability, and that could easily change, and obviously you'll be doing this at the end of your turn. So if you have multiple abilities with this, multiple birds with this ability, you'll have to make sure to keep each of the cards separated from each other so you're not mixing and matching all your cards together to obviously choose the best of all the cards you do with this ability. So make sure to keep them separate, because that's not the only bird that has this ability. The great crested grebe has it as well. So if you somehow had both of these birds, which is not very likely, of course, you would make sure to have to keep that ability separated from each other, of course. So that's interesting ability, to say the least. Okay, we still have some more to go over, so I think we'll just have enough time to finish this. So this one, with the warbler here, the Savvy's warbler, you're going to draw 2 cards, and then all other players draw 1 card from the deck. So that's pretty easy. It's pretty simple. You get 2 cards, and everyone else gets 1 card. Pretty simple ability. Okay, this is interesting. The European bee eater. Reset the bird feeder, and then if you do, gain all invertebrates from the bird feeder after resetting. This isn't the first time. There was another bird with this exact same ability in one of the other piles, so we won't go over a demonstration. Just watch the other one. Just watch all of the videos, obviously, or watch them in a row, like which was what I would like, of course. But yeah, that's a pretty cool ability. Even if it was just 1 dice or 2 dice or 5 dice, you get to reset the entire bird feeder, and then you'll roll the dice back into the bird feeder, and if you get any food dice with the invertebrate on it, you're going to gain 1 from the bird feeder after resetting, but only 1, okay? The other ability that had this ability, it was all of them that was the same food. This one is just 1 you're going to get. Still, that's pretty awesome. This one has the exact same ability, with the exception, this one is, if you do, you gain 1 food dice from the bird feeder after resetting. The European bee eater made it so you had to do it with invertebrate. This one, it can be any of the food dice that was re-rolled into the bird feeder. That's pretty cool. This one is the same ability as the last one, but it's only going to work with seeds. This one has the same ability as the last one, but it's only going to work with either seeds or fruit. So it gives you a couple of choices at least. And that's it for those birds there. Here we have the white stork. You'll discard all remaining face-up cards and refill the tray. If you do, draw 1 of the new face-up cards. So there's 3 face-up cards. So you're going to discard all 3 face-up bird cards, and then you're going to refill that tray. Then, if you do, you're going to draw 1 of the 3 new face-up cards. So that's kind of cool ability. Okay, this one is you're going to discard all remaining face-up cards. So once again, it has the same exact ability as the white stork. So we won't go any further on that one. This one has the exact same ability as the last one. And then this one, you're going to discard 1 card from your hand. If you do, play another bird in your forest, pay its normal food and egg cost. So once again, this is another one of those birds that will allow you to play another bird without wasting the action to do so. But you have to discard 1 other bird card from your hand to do it. You still have to pay its normal food cost and egg cost. But that's still pretty awesome. Saves you an action. That's really cool. Spares you an action. That's really cool. All right, so then we have the common moor hen. You're going to discard a food of your choice from your supply. If you do, play another bird in your wetlands, pay its normal food and egg cost. So it's similar to the last one, except you get to choose what food you're going to do. The last one is you had to discard a card to do this ability. This one, you're going to discard a food of your choice, and instead of the forest, this other bird is going to go in the wetlands. This one has a very similar ability as the last one as well, but instead of cards and food, you're going to discard 1 egg from any bird to play another bird in the forest, and obviously pay its normal food and egg cost. This one, you're going to discard 1 seed from your supply. If you do, lay 2 eggs on this bird. But you won't get to do this very often because it can only have 3 eggs on it. So if you're going to be removing eggs to play birds, this might be a bird to do that with. So you can keep doing this ability. This one is the partridge, the red-legged partridge. you're going to lay 1 egg on each bird in this column, including this one. So, for instance, this is a column. These three here, the wetlands, the savanna, and then up here, which you can't see, is the forest. That's one column there. If this bird was in this column, all the birds in this column would get 1 egg laid on each of them, including the bird that activated this ability. So that's pretty cool. Okay, this is interesting. The common nightingale. You'll choose a food type. All players gain 1 of that food from the supply. So that's a pretty interesting ability. You get to choose a food, and then everybody else gains 1 food. Everybody, including yourself, gains 1 food from the supply that you choose. That's pretty cool. I like that. And that's not the only one that has that ability. The blue throat has the same ability. The European robin has the same ability as well. Then we have the coal tit. With this one, you're going to gain 1 seed from the supply and cash it on this card. And then at any time, you may spend seeds cashed on this card. This one breaks that rule. The rule was when you put cached food on a bird card, it stays there. It never gets utilized for paying for other birds. Never, ever. The coal tit, though, breaks that rule. It's the only bird in this game, unless they make another expansion, it's the only bird in this game that lets you use the seeds that you've cached on this card here as paying to play a bird. That is powerful. The only one that has this ability. Cool, cool, cool. If a player is lucky enough to get this one, it's wow. It's going to be a fun game for that player, I'm sure. And very interesting, too. Okay, so this Eurasian thatch, you're going to gain 1 seed from the supply and cash it on this card. At any time, you may spend seeds cashed on this card. So actually, sorry, my bad. The coal tit is just one of many. So this bird has the exact same ability as the coal tit. So there's actually more than one that has this ability. There's actually 2 birds that have that ability. Not 1, but 2. So who knows? All right, so with the common little bittern, with this one, you're going to gain 1 face-up bird that can live in a savanna. So basically, there are 3 face-up bird cards in the tray. If one of them can live in the savanna, when you activate this card, meaning you've done the lay eggs action, I should say, not lay eggs action, when you've done the draw bird cards action, you're going to gain it. So that's kind of cool, but only if there's one that happens to be in the tray. That's pretty interesting. This one is the exact same thing, except instead of the savanna, it's with the wetlands instead. This one is another different ability as well. The black woodpecker here is gain all invertebrates that are in the bird feeder. So if there's a lot of invertebrates in the bird feeder every time you activate this, you're going to take out all of those food dices with invertebrate on it, and you're going to get the corresponding food from the supply. That is powerful. That could be very useful at times. And then here we have the white-backed woodpecker. Gain 1 food dice from the bird feeder. So that's pretty simple and easy to understand. And then this one is the Parrot Crossbill. You're going to remove any 1 food dice from the bird feeder, and then you're going to gain 1 seed from the supply. So it doesn't have to be a seed that you're removing from the bird feeder. It says any food dice from the bird feeder. And then if you do that, you're going to get 1 seed from the supply. That's pretty cool too. So the Parrot Crossbill has another really interesting ability, and it's the only bird that I know of for sure, unless it, I think this is the only bird that has that ability. So that's really, really cool. And that's all of the bird cards. Thank you guys for watching these videos. That is all of the birds. We have gone over every bird and every possible bird power. So now, hopefully, you understand, we all understand, myself included, understand how all these new birds work, which is really awesome. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching once again. And leave a like if you liked these videos, or this video in particular.